Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. Powered by soy biodiesel. Make a road trip down to the Waterford area. We'll be there all thanks to the folks at Heritage Cooperative. They'll be putting on their H-Plot FFA Day activities, so we'll bring you all of that on midday. Also, the Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will have a cattle sale Saturday at 11 and an equipment sale Sunday at 1. Complete details at jcrlm.com, your livestock authority. Well, Corteva Agriscience on Wednesday officially announced its board had unanimously approved a plan to split the company into two independent companies. Corteva Agriscience is splitting its seed and pesticide businesses. The company was created in a spinoff from the Dow-DuPont merger in 2019. Corteva generated nearly $17 billion in sales last year globally, about half of which was tied to North American farmers. The move confirms speculation that began weeks ago about the separation. The crop protection side will become New Corteva, while the seed business will be named Spinco. Each will be independent and publicly traded, the company stated. Now, the separation will unleash two distinct market leaders, both farmer-centric, both with technology and innovation at their core, and both with operating models and capital allocation priorities tailored to support their respective growth outlooks, strategic directions, and value propositions, Corteva stated. The company expects the split to happen in the second half of 2026. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Dry weather dominating the discussion here in the short term. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick forecast update here in Ohio. I don't have any problems through the rest of this week. High pressure being analyzed this morning over the Michigan Thumb. That's giving us sunshine, blue sky, and just a great setup. No interruptions to harvest here through the entire weekend and through Monday. Our next round of moisture is going to be coming from a cold front that comes out of low pressure on Tuesday of next week. The low way up in northern Ontario, but the front rotates through here. Probably has a decent shot at rain, anywhere from a quarter to 1 inch of precipitation likely. 80% coverage in Ohio. That's going to be Tuesday into early Wednesday. By Wednesday afternoon, though, it's out. Sunshine is back, and we're back to dry weather for next Thursday, Friday, and early Saturday. The rest of the weekend of the 11th and 12th is interesting. I think we have several rounds of moisture coming up from the west and southwest that can bring us anywhere from a quarter to 1.5 inches of rain. Coverage at 100% of the Buckeye State through early Monday morning the 13th. And then behind that weather system, we chill down for a couple of days. The 13th and 14th will be somewhat cooler, maybe near normal over the region. And then the rest of the week, we start to warm up in a big, big way. So roller coaster ride on temperatures the second half of this 16-day forecast window. But precipitation, we have two interruptions coming, one Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and one later on in the weekend of the 11th and 12th. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in with Dusty Sonnenberg. He has a conversation about adding value to soybeans.
I'm joined by Steve Reinhardt. Steve is past chair of the United Soybean Board. Steve, with commodity prices what they are right now, a lot of folks are looking at and maybe complaining about trade or lack of trade. But there's another aspect to it, and that deals with domestic demand. And I know United Soybean Board is really looking at things they can do to drive that demand. What are some things that have been done with checkoff dollars to help increase the value of U.S. soy?
You know, the inclusion of soybean meal in animal rations, and ideally we talk about pigs. So we did a lot of studies there, and we know that soybean meal has a lot of antiviral and anti-inflammatory benefits to it. So if we can displace some of the synthetic amino acids and use soybean meal in its place, we know we can gain other efficiencies like during the heat stress that we had this summer. We can help the pigs perform better and be more less stress on the animal, which means a bigger gain, faster gain for the animals as well. So those are some things there. Now we talk about high oleic soybeans again. We're talking about dairy rations, and dairy is built on so many different components of the milk, and one of the things that we can help with is that milk fat yield, and that's one of the big things in a dairy payment that farmer is going to get and help improve their bottom line as well. So, and then one of the other things we talk about the poultry market. Poultry market's really kind of exploding with the amount of restaurants, going up that just want to specialize in chicken, and that's been a really big improvement we've seen over the past several years. We know where the egg prices have been, and we know that the layer industry is growing and continues to grow, and that's going to be another big focus for us. And then we talk about exports. That's domestically. We can feed those animals, but we can export a lot of soybean meal through hams and loins and poultry products as they go overseas as well.
My guest is Steve Reinhart, past chair of the United Soybean Board, and this update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
And thanks, Dusty. A legal challenge to a USDA mandate requiring electronic identification tags for certain beef cattle, bison, and dairy cows moving across state lines will continue after a federal judge on Tuesday denied a USDA motion to dismiss the case brought on behalf of cattle producers. The rule that took effect back on November 5th of 2024 requires visible, readable EID tags for sexually intact cattle and bison 18 months or older, dairy cattle of any age, and for cattle and bison of any age used for rodeo shows or exhibitions. The federal court also dismissed one of the courts alleged by plaintiffs that the mandate was beyond USDA statutory power. Also allowed to stand are the plaintiff's allegation that the final rule was arbitrary and capricious. USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service provided EID tags for free through state veterinary offices. The lawsuit is seeking the vacation of the rule in its entirety and so permanently block its enforcement. USDA has estimated the number of cattle affected by the rule would be about 11 million head per year. And with the government shutdown, lots of different agencies affected in different ways. Here's some of the details. At the Natural Resource Conservation Service, 8,849 employees will be furloughed, leaving fewer than 500 NRCS staff working during the shutdown. Agricultural statistics will halt during the furlough. All NASS data reports, including monthly reports, will be suspended. NASS has 4 monthly reports set for release later Wednesday afternoon, and the NASS website still lists their releases. Twice in the past 12 years, October of 2013, January of 2018, USDA has suspended the release of a WASDE report because of government shutdown. Core food nutrition programs such as SNAP and WIC continue operations during a lapse of appropriations subject to the availability of funds. At the Food Safety and Inspection Service, the 7,064 food inspectors will continue to perform their duties at processing plants, inspecting meat, poultry, and egg products, as well as lab work and investigations into food outbreaks. For the Animal Plant Health Inspection Service, the majority of staff, 5,734 of them, will remain on board. APHIS will continue border inspections. USDA will use emergency funding balances to deal with the New World screwworm, highly pathogenic avian influenza, and other animal disease challenges. Back with more after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
If your summer road trip leads you to Ohio's farm country, be sure to share the road with Ohio's farmers. Farm machinery moves slowly, makes wide turns, and needs extra space to avoid obstacles like mailboxes and guardrails. Let's all be mindful and make sure everyone gets home safe and sound this year. This message brought to you by the Ohio AgNet, OSU Extension Ag Safety and Health Team, and this station.
Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information on your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Now with our analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets bounced late in the session yesterday to finish slightly higher on corn and wheat and sharply higher on beans. As we take a look at the reasons why, it is very, very simple. There doesn't have to be a lot of market commentary today. The chance of the market moving higher yesterday was initiated by President Trump putting out a tweet and on his Truth Social network that says he is meeting with Chinese President Xi in 4 weeks. And he went a step further and said soybeans are going to be one of the top discussions they have, finishing off his statement with, make soybeans and other row crops great again. Oh, fantastic. That's too long to fit on a hat, but I'm sure it really got the market excited in the late hours yesterday. We'll have to see whether there's any follow-through on several market commentary pieces that I got. One from a broker on his newswire that he sends out. He's like, look, it did yield some buying. It did see corn and wheat come along with the soybeans on the day. Nice move, but he thinks that this push forward and the enthusiasm, he called it hopium, he thinks that dies back fairly easily over the next 4 weeks before the meetings even happen. And he finished off his email with, sell it all. Now, the answer probably lies somewhere in the middle, but the idea was that was the bounce that we needed to get this market out of its bearish move. The big question is whether we can get to any technical targets here over the next couple of days. Can we get back above some moving averages? Can we test some resistance and power through it? And all of that yet to work out here in the middle of the fact that harvest is at its peak currently. Getting some reports across northwest Ohio that we're past 50% done. Go to our west and parts of Indiana, also past 50% done on harvest there. Just getting started in Michigan. Some areas of Illinois just not seeing a whole lot happen either. So all across the country, we've got this harvest ramping up. But locally here, we could be on the downside of the hill already, focusing a little bit more on corn than soybeans. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. We'll have the overnight figures after this.
It's the livelihood of Ohio farmers.
Planting, fertilizing, tending, and working.
Long days, short nights, cab meals, and tractor rides with the kids.
It all leads up to harvest.
Farmers are parents, siblings, children, and friends, and they're working hard to feed us all.
Give farmers plenty of room to work on the roads this harvest season.
From all of us here at the Ohio AgNet, have a safe harvest.
Think biodiesel is just another fuel? Think again. Biodiesel is Ohio innovation on the move. Clean, green, and built to keep diesel engines running strong. It's an engine booster, a soybean supporter, and an environmental champion all in one. Every gallon reduces emissions, strengthens Ohio farms, and powers your ride. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight at the open, December corn up 3/4 at $4.17 1/4 cents. March up a penny at $4.33 3/4. November beans giving back 3.5 at $10.09 1/2. January down 3.5 at $10.27 1/2. July 2026 new crop wheat is down 1/4 cent at $5.52 1/4 cents. September is down 1/2 at $5.66 1/4. In livestock, October cattle yesterday closed down 75 at $231.10. December down 27 at $234.50. The October lean hogs were down $1.42 at $98.42. December down $1.82 at $86.90. November feeder cattle $357.60, down $1.75. January down $1.02 at $352.02, and March down 45 cents at $347.82. Lots of other information on our website at ohioagnet.com. It has the latest in news, market, and weather. You can check it out, as well as our latest video. Hey, by the way, traveling back yesterday from just outside the Lima area all the way home, I counted 18 combines out doing their jobs. So the numbers are picking up all across a bigger portion of the state. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.